I think I've seen this film before. You roll out a new tool or process, training looks great, everybody nods along, and no questions. You feel like $1,000,000 because your rollout's a huge success. But then, once you think you're done, the questions start rolling in. Confusion creeps back, adoption slips, and your team falls back into old habits. And just like that, your new tool or process joins the corporate graveyard of good ideas that didn't stick. AdoptionHub was built to end that cycle. It's not just another training or enablement tool, it's the tool that you use to train, enable, and enforce your team to follow your unique processes the right way inside of HubSpot. You've invested a lot of time, money, and resources into your HubSpot build. Now let's make sure that your team is actually using it, because every day you're making expensive decisions off of that data and it needs to be accurate. Every misstep, every guest process, every skip filled costs you. So how do you guarantee adoption? AdoptionHub makes it simple. Training through action plans, enablement through explainer cards, and enforcement through process rules and process boards. Together, they turn what should happen into what actually needs to happen. Training starts with action plans, guided checklists turning complex processes into step-by-step execution inside of your HubSpot CRM. Enablement comes through explainer cards, bite-sized SOPs or videos that live right next to the asset in question, so your team has answers in the flow of work. Now, finally, enforcement comes in the form of process rules and process boards. Process rules keep data clean in real time with nudges, warnings, or hard stops when compliance matters. Process boards make adoption measurable and actionable. They show you which opt-outs are violating rules, who's improving over time, and which processes need better training. Think of it as a mini flywheel inside of your training tools, turning every violation into insight and every insight into a path for stronger adoption. AdoptionHub creates a connected user experience, so your team isn't switching tabs or guessing at next steps, and it gives you 100% confidence in your CRM data because your unique processes are enforced, documented, and followed every time. The result? Faster onboarding, consistent processes, data you can trust. AdoptionHub turns static documentation into real-time guidance that sticks. Train, enable, enforce, and adopt with AdoptionHub. Once you've logged into AdoptionHub and have downloaded the Chrome extension, you're going to redirect it to the back end. This is where the magic is built. You, as a user, do not have to worry about that because all of your magic is going to happen directly inside your HubSpot CRM. So let's switch over and let's see AdoptionHub in action. Now, the first thing you'll notice when you go over to your HubSpot account is an update that is being served to you through AdoptionHub. This is one of the change management features that is inside the AdoptionHub toolset. This one here is telling you exactly how you're going to experience AdoptionHub while inside HubSpot. All right, when you open your Sidekick, you're going to notice that it's going to be the living, breathing life force of all your process and process documentation. As you go through, you can notice that we have linked out to other important tools, so your project charter, your Lucid, or your client tasks. Now, if you're using this within your own organization, you can create this custom content as well. As we go through, you can see that we have embedded different tools that we use, like calendars via an iframe. And this is also where we're housing our action plans. So really, Sidekick is going to be that central location where you're going to drag your team when they have questions so that they can get answers quickly. We're going to take some time to deep dive into an action plan because action plans are going to be how you are going to train your team moving forward. Now, action plans are a series of tasks that will guide your users through a learning experience. Let's dive into an example. I have HubSpot 101 here ready to go. And you can see that I have phases that are broken into sections, and each of these sections are broken into tasks. As I go through my tasks, I can go to the lesson itself, and it's going to pop open a card. Now, in your card, you can contain videos, images, tables, text, a variety of different ways that your learners can interact and learn your platform. Now, when we go back to the action plan itself, once I learn, I can check that box off, and I'm good to go. If I have any questions, I can go ahead into the comment section and at another member in my company or up to HarvestROI if I have questions. This way, we can keep an open line of communication so that you are never stuck on understanding what tools or processes you should be doing. Sidekick is not the only way you're going to experience AdoptionHub while in the flow of work. As you navigate your HubSpot CRM, you'll start to notice these little icons next to any word phrases. These are AdoptionHub triggers. When you click on them, they will pop up what's called an explainer card, which will give you more information about the asset itself. So for example, I clicked on lead status. It's an info trigger. It's going to tell me what's the difference between a lifecycle stage and a lead status. Now, these are cards, and cards can contain a different variety of ways that you can present information to your team. So besides text and video, you can also do images, add tables, and iframe other URLs. So there's a lot that you can put into your cards to make sure that your team are getting the answers that they need. All right, now your team, as great as they are, might need some additional nudges while they're working in their objects. This is where process rules come into play. Process rules are validation rules that show up when certain data fields are not met or they are met. For example, this close date is past due. Today is not July 9th. In fact, we're way past that. So this deal is not in compliance with our forecasting data. This is a process rule telling me that I should be updating this in order to clear it. So let's go ahead and let's make sure we're putting an actual close date that is more reflective of when this deal is going to close. Look at that, I cleared my process rule. You can use process rules in the standard way, which are errors, warnings, or positives. And you can also do custom process rules as well that really align with your own processes. For example, you could have learning bits that are colored purple. You could have a finance process rule that will guarantee that they'll pay attention because it impacts their pocketbook. Process rules are just a way to get nudges and validations to make sure that your processes are followed while in the flow of work. Now, process rules are only as good as the aggregation of data behind them to make sure that you are measuring if your processes are actually working. Now, in the backend of AdoptionHub, you can start to create these boards that will tell us who is violating our specific process rules and what has happened over time, so that we can start to understand if our processes are working or if we need to make any additional tweaks.